What is going on? Welcome to my first ever podcast episode. Today we're talking about 10 possible reasons why you're not losing weight even though you're trying very hard to do so. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube and you prefer to be able to close your phone and maybe you're working out or you are commuting into work or you just want to listen to the audio, you can go on Spotify and listen on my podcast, which is called Men's Fat Loss, Muscle Building, and Lifestyle Balance with Jesse Rosenthal. But if you prefer to watch it, that is totally cool too. We're going to go through relatively quickly 10 possible reasons why you are not losing weight, even though that is what your goal is to do. And to make things very easy and very clear about why you're not losing weight, really there's one scientific reason why that is, and it's because you're not in a calorie deficit. But these 10 reasons, and I've actually got one bonus reason, so we've got 11 reasons why you're not losing weight, are all going to be reasons why you may not be able to create that calorie deficit. So all of these things are very common mistakes or very common points in your program or your training or your nutrition that I see after coaching dozens and dozens of men. These are very common reasons as to why people can't seem to get the weight to budge. So let's go through them. I'm going to give a brief description for each one as to why that's so important. So the number one on the list here as to why you're not losing weight, even though you're trying to, is simply because you don't know how many calories you're eating, right? This is basic 101 weight loss, right? Can you lose weight without tracking your calories? Of course you can. I've got plenty of clients who have done just that, but keep in mind, it's under professional guidance and supervision from me, so I'm setting them up to be successful, and I'm setting them up to eat in a way with very particular guidelines that's going to create a calorie deficit, even without them knowing it, right? But if you are trying hard to lose weight, and maybe it's been months or even years that you've been trying without successfully doing it, this is like step one. You've got to start tracking your calories and knowing how much food you're eating in a day, because that is the most important thing you need to know in order to create predictable weight loss for yourself, okay? Now, reason number two is that you're not tracking your calories accurately. So maybe you are tracking your food and you're putting in the effort there. Maybe you're even using a food scale, but the truth is there's something about what you're doing or something about how you're tracking that isn't very accurate. And trust me, I've seen this dozens of times where people swear that they're tracking accurately and they swear that they're weighing every food out on a food scale. And even I've done this myself. You can even be an experienced tracker and make small little mistakes here and there that end up accumulating a lot of calories by the end of the week if you're, eating those things every day or eating those snacks every day or using that particular creamer or milk every day, right? And a few common reasons why people end up not tracking accurately is, the first reason is that they're not using a food scale. Right? So that's number one. It's super easy fix. Luckily, you can get a food scale for 15 or 20 bucks on Amazon. And basically what this helps you do is understand how much you're eating of a certain food, or that you're getting the exact serving size right. So if you're having cereal, you weigh it out in the bowl on the food scale, and I poured out a full bowl. It's actually 3 servings. It's one full bowl of cereal isn't just one serving. It actually comes out to 2 or 3 or 4 servings, right? Same goes for peanut butter or any of these other foods that are really important to track. Even with meats, you can know exactly how many ounces or grams in weight you're eating of these foods, which is going to help you track way more accurately. Another reason why you may not be tracking accurately is if you're estimating what the calories or the macros are in one of your meals, like more than twice a week, like multiple times a week, if you're going out to eat and estimating, or if you are, eating at a friend's house and having to estimate that meal, that's going to lead to probably not tracking very accurately. And I, even though I'm a very experienced tracker, I just assume that if I'm estimating the macros or calories of a meal, that I'm wrong, right? I just assume that I'm wrong. And honestly, I recommend that my clients do the same thing. So not that you can't go out to eat, but if you are needing to estimate more than once or twice or 3 times in a week, you safe bet that you're probably not tracking super accurately, unfortunately. All right, that being said, you can absolutely go out to eat at places that list the calories online for you or list the macros online for you. There's so many places now that do this, and it's very, very helpful. Okay, now number 3 on the list as to why you're not losing weight is if you find yourself snacking pretty frequently. So maybe it's daily snacking. I know people who will grab a handful of nuts twice a day or 3 times a day, or they'll eat popcorn while they're watching TV, or they will they've got candy or something laying around, and they'll eat some M&Ms or some Reese's cups or whatever it is once or twice or 3 times a day. And what you don't realize is, of course, 1 Reese's cup isn't going to hurt you, but if you're doing that 3 times every day or 3 times a week, that's going to be adding up 100%, because 99% of the time we're not tracking these snacks, right? These handful of snacks here, handful there, but oftentimes these are very high calorie snacks, right? Nuts, while they're healthy, a massively high calorie snack that can easily add an extra 500 calories to your day just by grabbing a handful of them, right? So that's something that I've noticed is a real big issue, and oftentimes what people are doing with this frequent snacking is, if they would have just added more food to their actual meals and had 2 or 3 or 4 nice, big, satisfying meals, they wouldn't even have the urge to snack all throughout the day. So oftentimes this stems from a lack of quality meals in the actual day. Maybe the meals are just too small, or they're not satiating enough, okay? So I would invite you to look at that if this is something that you're dealing with, all right? Number 4 on the list as to why you're not losing weight is that the weekends are very different than the weekdays, right? Monday through Friday, you're great. You've got your schedule, you've got your work, you've got your meals planned out, you're working out. And then maybe on the weekend, you're not working out. And that means you don't have your post-workout shake. That means you don't have your pre-workout meal with fruit. That means you're waking up later. That means you're also having drinks at night, right, on Friday night and Saturday night, which means you're probably having like 50 or 100 grams less of protein than you would on a typical weekday, right? If it's like day and night between your weekend and your weekday, that is something that really can take someone who's in a calorie deficit Monday through Thursday and make them not be in a calorie deficit by the end of the week on Sunday, because they're eating 500, 1,000 calories more on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And the truth is, the weekend, if we call it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that's 42% of your week. That's almost half your week. So it really does matter. I'm not saying you have to be perfect on the weekends and you have to work out every day and you have to never go out to eat or anything like that. But you need to show up and do 1 or 2 things that are going to make a difference. And this is exactly what I have my clients in my Modern Man program do. Every Friday, I have them commit to me 1 or 2 very simple things that they're going to commit to over the weekend to stay on track. Maybe that's something as simple as having your protein shake each day. Or maybe that's something as simple as doing 1 workout between Saturday and Sunday, doing at least 1 workout. Whatever it is, pick 1 or 2 things to continue to show up and stick to over the weekend that's going to help you stay on track, okay? Number 7 on the list is that you're very sedentary, right? You have a sedentary lifestyle. And let me be clear about this. Even if you're working out 5 times a week, I know a lot of people, myself included, previously to when I got Nigel, who's my boxer puppy, I would work out 5 or 6 times a week, but I wasn't getting in more than 5,000 steps a day. I was very sedentary, sitting at my desk here, doing my work 10, 12, 15 hours a day, moving very, very little. And this is something that I've noticed specifically over COVID, since COVID started a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, is that people who generally walk to work, walk to the train, walk to their office, and are up and about more so throughout the day, or at least in the morning and at night before and after work, are now working from home possibly, or now working from home a lot more than they were previously. And their daily steps went from maybe 8 or 9 or 10,000 a day down to 2 or 3,000 a day, even though they had the same job or were doing, very similar things throughout the day. They just weren't leaving their house. So this is something to keep in mind, and something that I always have my clients do, which is keep track of how many steps they're taking in the day. You can do this with hundreds of free apps on your phone, or you can get some sort of wearable or activity tracker, but it gives you a great idea of how much you're actually moving in the day. And why this is so important is because losing weight, losing body fat, has a lot to do with how much you move around, obviously, right? The nutrition side is the most important side, but if you're only taking 2 or 3 or 4,000 steps a day, it's going to be harder, noticeably harder, to lose weight. And your nutrition is going to become 10 times even more important if you're someone who is very, very sedentary, because you have to be almost perfect with your nutrition then, and you're going to have to eat less food as compared to someone like myself who is now getting in 8, 9, 10,000 steps every day. That allows for a little bit more leeway in your nutrition. It absolutely does, okay? So number 8 on the list here, as to reasons why you're not losing weight, is you're following what I call the HOPE routine, or the HOPE game plan, which is basically you don't have a game plan, right? You don't have a nutrition protocol in place that you're adhering to every day with guidelines that you're following. You don't have maybe a workout routine that you're following either at the gym or at home. And you're basically just doing what you think you should do with random things. Maybe you're just eating healthy foods. You're trying to eat healthier foods or clean foods and hoping that is going to lead to the results you want, which is losing weight. But as you can imagine, hoping is a terrible strategy, right? If you're just hoping something's going to happen, or hoping that, if you just eat healthier foods, that's going to lead to changing your body, that's not the case. You can very easily overeat healthy foods and gain weight. Like we talked about before with nuts. Nuts are healthy. They're also massively high in calories, and probably the easiest way to gain weight is to eat a bunch of nuts every day because it's going to add 500 or 1,000 calories to your day, leaving less calories that you can actually eat that's going to keep you full in your meals, right? So if you don't have a game plan with both your nutrition and your training, that is a major issue, and it wouldn't be a surprise to me that you're not losing weight or you're not seeing the results you want if you don't have an actual game plan that can get you there, right? So number 9 on the list is that you're drinking your calories. And this, I'm sure you've heard before, but if you're in a fat loss phase and you're trying to lose weight, drinking your calories is only going to make it harder. Is it doable? Can you lose weight while still drinking beer, while still drinking Gatorade or soda or any other drinks that have plenty of calories in them? Sure, of course you can, but it's not going to make it any easier. And the reason for that is because if you're drinking 200 or 300 or 400 or 500 calories in your drinks, that's less food that you can then eat in your meals that's actually going to keep you full, actually going to keep you energized, actually going to help with recovery, muscle recovery, fuel for your workouts. It's just emptying your tank a little bit in regards to food, all right? So number 10 now on the list. Now, this is a good one, and this is one that most people don't know how to do, but it's that you don't know what adjustments to make with your program. And what I mean by that is this. So some people will just eat 2,000 calories a day, or maybe they're eating a certain amount of calories per day that they found on a calorie calculator online, or maybe a past coach told them to eat that amount. And they just eat that amount thinking that they're going to lose weight forever eating 2,000 calories. And that's not the case, because our body adapts to the amount of food that we're eating. This is why when I bring on new clients to my Modern Man program, instead of setting them up with very low calories to start so that they lose weight very quickly, what I actually do is I set them at a more moderate amount of calories so that they can enjoy the process more, have a little bit more food and flexibility in their diet. And it leaves us some leeway so that we can drop the calories gradually over many months if needed to continue losing weight. That's why the clients that I work with are able to lose 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus pounds over 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and actually keep it off, because we're taking a more long-term approach and we are not jumping right into the quickest fix possible, right? So if you're eating 2,000 calories for 6 months in a row, your body may have adapted to that level of food and the activity level that you're currently at. And you may need to actually reduce the calories a little bit or increase the cardio a little bit in order to see a little bit of a budge in the weight, in losing more weight. And that's not to say that you always have to be decreasing. Of course, you should be utilizing reverse dieting, and you should be going through various phases of eating and training over the course of many years on your journey to ultimately build up your metabolism and allow for more food in the long run. But most people don't know how to make these small tweaks and gradual adjustments to their program, and that's a major reason why they always feel stuck or they're not sure what to do next with their diet or with their nutrition. All right? I hope that makes sense. And then I've got one bonus for you here as to why you may not be losing weight even though you're trying to do so. And that is that you are set in your own ways. And what I mean by that is you're not open to trying new things or open to new research maybe, or ideas or suggestions or protocols that are probably in your best interest. And how I often see this show up most commonly is that people are so set in their ways of trying to lose weight as fast as possible, trying to look for the fastest way to lose weight. And what ends up happening is that they, go with a really quick fix approach like a detox or a juice cleanse or eating very, very low amounts of food, like low calories. And they can only sustain that for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks at most. And then they end up binging because they weren't able to stick to it. It wasn't a sustainable approach. So while they wanted to lose weight as fast as possible to, look their best on that vacation or look their best for their birthday or something like that, it actually is not an approach or a method that's going to serve you long term. And people are very commonly looking to push off the more longer term approaches because it means they may lose weight a little bit more slowly. But 99% of the time, if you're losing a little bit more slowly, that means it's more sustainable. And that means that you're going to be more consistent over a longer period of time. So 6 months go by, you may actually be down 20 or 30 pounds, but on a week-by-week basis, you may not notice much. You may only be down half a pound or 1 full pound. And to say that you're down 4 pounds at the end of a month, that's not super sexy, right? That's not what people want. They want to be down 10 pounds after a month, 15, 20 pounds after a month, and they're not willing to be patient and actually track their progress properly. And that is really hurting people. And that leads to what I realize is I skipped number 5 in this list, which is yo-yo dieting. So this ties in very much to that bonus tip or that bonus point, which is people are yo-yo dieting. They're taking a very restrictive approach with their nutrition, dieting super aggressively for 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, and then they end up binging and gaining that weight back. And the truth is that 90% of people who have weight loss goals will be yo-yo dieting for the rest of their life. And that sucks to say, but that's what the research shows, is that the vast majority of people are on a constant cycle of losing weight only to gain it back later on. And if people would take a more moderate approach, a more flexible and sustainable approach with proper accountability, they wouldn't have to go through that roller coaster of losing weight and gaining it back all throughout their life. All right, guys? So I hope that was somewhat helpful. Maybe one of these 11 points resonated with you, or maybe I touched upon something that can help you in your journey and help you kind of get over the hump here with your own fat loss goals. But that's going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on the next one.